Cassar. Welcome back to another great episode of the Justice Plan Weddings podcast, where we dive deep into the stories and services that make weddings unforgettable. I'm your host, as always, Nathan Cassar, and today we are joined by a creative force who is truly changing the wedding scene. Choi, the talented live wedding illustrator who's bringing art and celebration together in the most magical way possible. Grace is not your average wedding vendor by any stretch at all. With 8 years of experience under her belt, she has become the go-to artist for couples looking to capture the joy and beauty of their big day in a completely unique way. Known for her radiant energy and passion for love, Grace's art has graced the weddings of countless couples, and her clients include major brands like Chaumet, Prada, Fendi, and Rimowa, just to name a few. But her ability to create personalized, heartfelt fashion illustrations truly makes her stand out. Grace specializes in transforming real-time wedding moments, like, say, your first dance or your guest's stunning outfits, into timeless, breathtaking artwork. Not only does she offer beautiful keepsakes, but she also brings excitement and interactivity to her weddings, making her art the perfect addition to any celebration. Now, today, Grace is here to share how she integrates seamlessly into weddings, creating pieces that capture the essence of the day while providing an interactive experience for guests. We'll also explore how live illustration can be a fun and meaningful part of your wedding day, offering personalized mementos that will last a lifetime. So if you've been wondering how to add a truly personal and unique touch to your wedding, or how to turn your love story into a piece of art, this episode is a must listen. Grace, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much for the amazing intro. I'm like, oh.
It's all about you. It's completely everything you've achieved. You must be look, 8 years of experience. Like, are we talking like, so 8 years you've been professionally doing this, but realistically, like, how long have you been, making art in general?
Making art. Oh, just over 30 years, I think. Ever since I was little, I was always doodling, just like my son. This is all my son's
Yes, I
art.
know. I can
Yeah.
appreciate the artwork. It's you'll have a little assistant very shortly. You'll be able to pump out double the amount of artwork at your wedding soon.
Fingers crossed. So yeah, I've always been a creative since a young age. I went to art school, majored in fine arts, doing painting and printmaking. And after that, it was like, what do I do with my life, right? I
Like
always
any artist says, right?
exactly, yeah. And I think the fact that I could be a starving artist was a pretty cool concept to me when I went into uni. I was like, oh, a starving artist, that's pretty cool. So knew nothing about money, knew nothing about anything, didn't know what I was doing, just a creative soul. And then after I finished uni, I hit the real life, and it was like, oh, we do need money. We do need to, find a job. And so I went into retail, did this, did that. And when I had my son, that was 10 years ago,
Mm.
I sat down and I was like, okay, my son is such a great child. He naps really well, has no problems. I've got all this free time in the world. What can I do at home?
Yeah.
So I started just sketching, not to become something, but that was the only thing I knew how to do. So I got my sketchbook out, just started sketching, and then I started posting on Instagram. And then brand director from Wollongong Shopping Centre approached me, and then she was like, hey, we're having a VIP night. Do you know, could you come in and do live illustration for us? And I was like, of course I can. And then after the phone call, I was like, what is live illustration? I was Googling forever, trying to, And then I went to my first event, and then I thought, wow, this is amazing. I can talk and I can draw and I can get paid at the same time. This is incredible, sort of thing. And one job led to another. And I was mostly working with brands 8 years ago. And then I met Kate and Tom, singers. Yeah?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, very good friends of mine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And they approached me asking to do one of their first logos. And they were like, you should really get into the wedding industry. And then there's me just walking around with a pram, and I'm like, wedding industry, that time it's all about your child, right? And it's like, oh, rocking up to everyone's weddings just seemed really big and really different. And
Well, it's definitely was the right fork in the road for you.
yeah, and they were very lovely, and they introduced me to other vendors, and I got to see them sing, went to wedding expos, and I also did one with them, and I was like, oh wow, this is exciting, this is great, to be able to rock up in people's best moments and live illustrate. Yeah. And then one wedding, two weddings, three weddings, and yeah.
Well,
Right.
I can personally attest that your work is incredible, and it was definitely the right choice for you. I mean, Tom and Kate from White Clover Music are definitely not, they definitely don't lead anybody astray, let alone yourself. In fact, if those who are watching, not listening, I actually already, I have a vast display behind me, but Grace, you might recognize this little piece that I'm pointing to right over here. It's the last one you did with me at the wedding we worked together. So it lives on my vast wall of achievement behind me.
Oh, love it.
So I've always very much loved that. And my partner and I, we display our other one at our front door threshold. So your work is incredible and does inspire great memories. And, I love your journey because you just naturally followed the dots and, have now carved out this amazing reputation and niche within an industry that is growing a lot more agencies adding what you do to their packages. Other people are jumping in on it, just similar to how content creation has sort of exploded over the last couple of years. So could you share some examples of sort of how, now that as you are a bit more of a known niche and people understand you can get this, and what's a way that some examples of how you sort of seamlessly integrated yourself into people's wedding celebrations?
Yeah. So getting to know more about my couples before the wedding. So as soon as they approach me, I want to know everything about them. So we jump on Zoom, and then we talk about what is really important to them, why live illustration, about their guests, because it's all about guest entertainment. We want the guests to feel happy. We don't want the brides and groom to be worried about anything. We want them to fully enjoy the day. So it's like, leave it to me. So that's how it begins. I rock up to their wedding. I tell them, don't even worry about me. You go and make love. Have the best time. Leave it all up to me. And then that's what I do. I rock up the venue a little bit earlier to set up, say hello to other vendors, and then I roll.
Excellent. And I've seen you work, and I mean, it's incredible to watch the speed at which you were able to get so many pieces of artwork out for the guests over the course of time. And you have such a very unique style. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure obviously you could say that about every artist, but yours in particular, having witnessed a number of other live illustrators, yours definitely sort of stands as its own specific sort of artwork, which obviously which is why people are coming to you. How do you, but sort of from your sort of point of view, how do you personalize your illustrations to be able to reflect the couple's individual love story? And beyond that, how do you make every piece that you make on a night truly special?
Yeah, so the style that I am known for, it's quite minimal, simple lines with a splash of watercolor or markers. So I keep it really minimal, very timeless. It doesn't go out of fashion, I think. And I capture your best traits. So I'm not like a caricature enhancing your ugly pictures. So I make it pretty, make it all pretty. And for the couple, so in a wedding, I start with my couple first, capturing their outfits, the vibe and the energy, the backdrops, the floral backdrop, anything that's really special to them. I weave it all in. And I think the style that I offer to my clients is something that happened over time. Because I've been to so many weddings, I was like, okay, what's a style that could really resonate with a lot of people.
Mm.
And, how could I do it faster, but make it also pretty at the same time? So I think that's just the style that I have created after years of experience.
Yeah, and what is your average amount? As you said, you wanted a style that's both, unique and really captures something, but then also at the same time something that is efficient and can be replicated rather quickly throughout the night.
Mm.
Speaking of that directly, like how many? What's your sort of average amount of artworks per wedding?
Yeah, so every hour I can do about 12 to 15 individuals or couples, depending on how much details, like the outfits, yeah, of the details of the outfits. But I also have to consider the interaction time that's involved as well. So I'm not just sitting down illustrating nonstop like a machine.
Mm,
I've got people coming up to me going, "Oh, I love your artwork. Can I take a photo of this and that?" All that is included. So I tell the
yeah.
couple, "Hey, I can promise you I can do about 10 to 12 illustrations, but generally a little more." Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And of course, I mean, it's. I'm glad to hear that you're not just a machine, because definitely, you could arguably there are machines and services out there that you can do those en masse. Where I've seen the robots start doing it now, but I think that's the most important part of the puzzle is that you are a human being. That you're adding the real, true, seamless nature of your ability to create magic is the fact that you are a real live person, bringing your own personality and your artwork flavor to the mix. And it's something, those interactions with people, I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but I've seen it firsthand, and I think it's really lovely when people are able to sort of in real time find joy out of being replicated on a piece of artwork, and the impact that it has on people is just, it's so nice to see. As an MC, I deal with something very similar in the sense of being able to create experience and memory right at the moment, and it's just great to see it being done in another format on the same night. um, Obviously, of course, then, so we're talking about the amount that are done throughout the night. So I think I've seen you probably pump out anywhere from say 50 to 80 or so on a night, depending how things go. You're obviously, these things are incredible keepsakes. They're things that are not just little candles or bottle openers or other things. Which, okay, if that's what you're gonna get, that's cool. But definitely, this is like that next way, like next level above that really shines through as something that people are going to absolutely remember a wedding for. What do you think makes having a live illustration at a wedding more meaningful than other forms of memorabilia or a bomboneria or other things like that?
Um, you get two in one. You get the entertainer, me, and the keepsake in one. Yeah. So I think that is a big piece. So, you want your guests to have the best time during your wedding. And when they come to me, they'll be filming me. Live illustration is very Instagrammable. We'll add hashtags
Mm,
and everything. They like taking photos. They like talking about it. It's a bit of a guessing game as well. So
yeah.
it's really fun, really interactive, and you take it home. Yeah.
Oh, of course, absolutely. And do you find that that like in terms of your interactions with like you, because I love that you call yourself an entertainer too, because I think that's definitely like, you're not just buying the artwork, you're buying the personality, which is so unique, right? Most of the time when you buy a piece of artwork, you're like, oh, it's this person. You're like, okay, cool. Never will meet them, but they sound great, and they've done this great
Yeah.
artwork. So it's amazing, obviously, meet the artist and get the artwork on the same night. Sort of more specifically, like, can you recall sort of those reactions that you get from people, and maybe perhaps some of your favorite interactions you've had as they're getting their portraits in real time?
So many comments. Is that me? Oh, I love it. Some scream, some cry. And what kind of reactions did I get? So many reactions. But they love it. They all love it. But one of the most common questions that I get, comments that I get when illustrating, they'll be like, "Can you make my chin a little bit slimmer? Can you make my enhance the good bits?" And I'm like, "Of course." And you look great, and let me do that for you. Yeah.
That's nice that you do that for them, though. It's nice that they appreciate that. And I'm like, nope, nope, nope. I must reflect reality. You know, like it's something bizarre like that. Oh, well, that's. I'm glad to hear that, and of course, it's nice. Like to, it must feel so good to like have people, take photos and share them on Instagram, and and all that. And plus, when it comes down to something that's so unique and can only be done by so few, it must. What's it like being a vendor of this type that is just so unique in a space that's there are endless amounts of ways that couples can have their celebration take place and invite saxophone players, photo booths, Brazilian dancers, everything else in between. So what is it like sort of being like a really really super unique niche that's growing rather rapidly at this time? Sort of what's your feelings on how your niche is beginning to carve itself out, and what do you see as the future for live art illustration?
Yeah, so I can see more live illustrators. I think in the beginning there was only maybe one or two
Mm, mm,
that I knew, but now I think there's more than 20 or more. So it's definitely growing, which is
yeah,
great because different styles, different interaction, yeah, definitely different characteristics and styles, which is really exciting. Um, I think there will be more and more of us, yeah, over time.
yeah.
Um, I sometimes hear guests coming up to me and go, "Oh, I didn't know this could be a thing. Is this your full time job? I am a creative too," sort of thing, and it inspires them. So it becomes their little a new hobby or a new job as well. So that's really exciting. Sorry, what was the question again?
No, no, no. You're right on the money here. No, these future trends and what you're seeing is important because it's fascinating that 8 years ago you were one of only, as you said, one of only two people who you were known to have done it now, and I think you and I could probably maybe still only count maybe say 10 to 20 out there in Australia that are currently doing it. But as trends grow and as people realize, as you said, they get inspired by the fact that they can do this for a living. It's just so nice. Like as a creative to a creative, it's so fascinating to and fantastic to see the growth of something like this that really does create lasting memories for people. Do you get asked by couples to do? Because I know you, as I if you're watching, I pointed out the smaller form, the format that Grace will usually give out on a night. But for yourself, do you get asked to do large illustrations of art of photos that happen after the case, or is that something that you offer as well?
Yeah, so commissions. Yeah, definitely. The live illustration, the style of the illustration, it's really quick and spontaneous, very different from the commissions that I take. The
Mm,
commissions are much more detailed, a little more detailed, and has more, yeah, more, what should I say? I put more time, invest more time into it.
mm.
While live illustrations are super quick, you can see that energy, the spontaneous, super quick energy into the live illustrations. Yes, I do take commissions also.
Yeah, cool, nice. Because I think it adds that extra flavor. Because immediately I think, once I get my photos back, for instance, and then I think this is one that would be fantastic to replicate in your style as well. To
Mm,
make that particular art piece sort of like side by side, as an
yeah.
example, right? Or maybe perhaps
Yeah, of
someone
course.
someone took a photo on the night that's on their phone that could potentially be enhanced by having your artwork, live by it as
Mm,
well. So that's great. And sort of speaking about sort of the timeless nature of everything and the memories that last and go beyond the night itself. Look, there might be some couples out there still who are listening who potentially are a bit on the fence and they're not sure and they're thinking, is this something that people are going to like? It doesn't sound like something that a lot of people do still. So are we taking a chance on something that, may fizzle out or our guests may not really appreciate it? What would you say to convince them? Like, how
oh,
do your illustrations become something that, that but they need to know that their guests and themselves will cherish forever?
yeah. I have never seen a guest that did not like live illustrations so far. I get my couples and they're like, "Oh, we have so many of the elderly people. I'm not really sure if they're going to like it." I promise you they love it even more. They go, oh, we've got lots of young kids. I'm not too sure if, it's going to be the right entertainment or the right keepsake. We've got children all over the table. They love it so much. It's really for everyone, I think. And it is, it's a really beautiful keepsake. And because the style is so minimal, like it's done really fast, there's so much spontaneous energy into the artwork. You can't really say I don't like it to this artwork. There's no particular style to this art. It's so minimal, so much energy into it, and you take that home. You're gonna love it. Yeah.
No, definitely. Look, in my book, it's an absolute no-brainer. But certainly, I think if there is anybody still on the fence, look, it's one of those things that I really think I feel bad for the oldies too, because they often get every sort of sort of like doubt in the planet for anything really. Like, oh, I don't think they'll like a photo booth. I don't think they'll like the music. I don't think they'll like this. And it's like, maybe sometimes just take a chance. There's you'd be surprised generally, not just for live illustration, but just for a lot of different things, how much people will get into things just because everyone else is having a good time. Even to the point where some people say, oh, I don't know if my grandma will get on the dance floor. I'll say, well, after I'm finished with the crowd, she will be there and you'll be cheering her on. And they are. And so it's what it really represents is making choices that encourage a wonderful, beautiful atmosphere. And what you do definitely adds to that. I know I've personally seen people light up, and I had the same reaction when I got my pieces of artwork from you. So I can give my official endorsement, stamp of approval. Any doubts, don't worry about it. Just go see Grace and she'll take care of you 100%. Grace, we're coming to the end of our episode, but I do want to just ask you a couple of other additional quick questions, things that immediately come to mind for you. And the first one is, I'm really, really curious, what was your first ever piece of artwork that you made?
The first piece of artwork. When I was little.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange one. The one that popped in my mind was I did this family portrait, and I was using oil pastels to color in the background. And you know how it's really hard to color around the lines? With the oil pastel. And I ended up chopping the fingers off and chopping the feet off because I was working too hard for it. And I think I sat down and I was like, okay, am I supposed to do the background first or the people first? Like, I just remember that moment. It was a really odd moment. But I think just that curiosity of just thinking so much in one artwork just led to another. I don't know if I was exploring art. Yeah. That's
I love that. That's cute. And I mean, like I said, you got to start somewhere, right? So
yeah, that's right.
And starting and thinking of in that same vein, my second question to you is, what is your why? Like, what gets you out of bed? Like, you said you were inspired by the idea of being a starving artist, but I mean, as you grow up from being a kid that just does some doodles and family portraits with no digits and limbs, like, what's it take to go from that kind of just childlike enjoyment of creating art to doing what you do now? Like, what is it that really drives you being an artist?
I think ever since I was young, I was told, hey, art won't take you anywhere. Like, there's only two career choices that you can make within art. You either have to be a teacher or an artist, was all I heard when I was in uni. So to be a live illustrator, so different. Whoever knew, that I would be a live illustrator. It just amazes me how art is so broad and, in this generation, you can be anything that you want to be. So I really, really love what I do. It is really, really special. I also own an art studio for kids and teenagers. And what I tell my students is, hey, you can be anything you want to be, don't limit yourself into a little box, an artist or a teacher. Great if you, become one of those too. But if that's not you, the creative world is endless. Did you want to
Oh,
yeah
I love
mention
that.
a little?
I know, I love the inspiration behind it. And look, again, as one creative to another, I can appreciate, that desire. Particularly, I had the similar circumstance in many junctions of my life. People say, you're either not going to make it, or, you
Mm,
have to work so hard to be able to make it. And it's like, okay, but that just juxtaposes against the idea when they tell you as a kid, work hard, like to be a good worker, do achieve high, get A's across the board, all that kind of stuff. And then when you finally have a dream about something, but it happens to not be, science, mathematics, geography, whatever it may be, right? It's being a lawyer or a doctor. It's, I actually want to do something that is creative and emotionally sort of left brained as opposed to right. And they're like, oh, no, that's no,
mm.
sorry, no, you can't do that. And so I love that you, similar to myself, when we're told no, and then you're like, okay, well, I just keep saying yes much more now because of that.
That's right. Yeah. And saying yes to all the opportunities that I got sort of got me here. So I'm really happy for that. Yeah.
So good. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I would love for everyone to know exactly how to find you so they too can have a piece of your artwork on their shelf like I do. So how can people find you online?
Yeah. You can find me at Grace Choi Artist, website gracechoiartist.com, Instagram Grace Choi Artist. Yep.
Excellent. Well, folks, run, don't walk onto her website. I promise you that your night will be far, far, better and much more memorable from everyone. They'll be raving about her services for years to come. So, folks, I encourage you immensely to have a chat with Grace, and I look forward to the next time we get to work together. And I get to get another. I have to bring another suit. So that was my sort of white champagne suit. So I'll have to bring my blue or my black, or whatever else I got next time, just to make sure that I get a different piece of artwork from it. So.
Love it. Of course. Anytime for you, Nathan.
Thanks, Grace. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Just As Planned Wedding Podcast. Please like and subscribe to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Just As Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go just as planned.